and 32 on your agenda. I think I'm jacketed together. Now what's 33?
Well, 32 has to be placed.
31 and 32. 32 has withdrawn their request, but since we don't have anything formal from them in writing, they've only had a verbal withdrawal, I think we're going to hold it until we get a formal written withdrawal.
If I may, it actually would be in order for the council to move to postpone indefinitely this item, because that would effectively end their permit application, so it would close this file. If they've withdrawn and they intend to withdraw, there's no problem
Okay.
if the committee wants to do that.
Okay, staff thought maybe we should wait till it was in writing.
We didn't have a written, I mean, we received a verbal, but I just thought if we didn't have a written, maybe it's best to.
We didn't hold a hearing tonight, so we can't do anything.
To the extent that the committee wants to hold it, that's fine as well. Either one would work, but if the withdrawal has been made, then there is no problem with the committee postponing indefinitely.
Putting you on
and-
file?
Correct.
Is there a motion to place it
I
on
move to
file?
place on file.
Second.
It's been moved by Alderman Vitale, seconded by Alderperson Ranky to place item 32 on file. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Now we've got item 31, and our city attorney Kale has recommended some changes, which Alderman May spoke about at the hearing this evening. So I don't know if you want to go through those and discuss those.
Sure. Mr. Chair, I gave some general topics in response to an inquiry from Alderman May on this one. And I know Alderperson Ranky, you spoke to me about it as well. And so my suggestions would be that if there is an approval of the special use permit, that you place essentially an expiration date on it of a year, 2 years, 5 years, whatever the committee feels is a good time. That is allowed under state law. And that would essentially end that special use permit unless renewed. So it's not uncommon for other cities to have expiration dates and then renew those permits on later dates. That's one way to do it. Another way would be to issue it specifically to the applicant and make it non-transferable. That way, there wouldn't be any issues in that if you're approving it, you're approving not only the permit, but specifically to the person who applied, and that's not,
Both ways?
you could do both.
Okay.
And then, if there's any specific types of requirements, the two that I suggested, one would be involving a camera or security camera, essentially pointing outside of the business, pointing to any people who walk into the store. That is a way that has been helpful in deterring any type of criminal activity and other types of situations, and it would potentially be helpful here as well. And then the final one, I'm blanking now on that one. What was the last one on the list there that I gave?
Windows?
Oh, the log. So a log of clients might be possible as well. By state law right now, if a massage therapist believes that there is type of illegal sexual activity occurring between a therapist and a client, they can make a report but cannot list the client's name without that client's written permission. So one of the suggestions would be if you wanted to require that any clients waive that right, essentially making them no longer anonymous. That'd be a way to deter people from approaching this business who wish to remain anonymous.
Okay. I would suggest that the committee hold this until Attorney Kale has had an opportunity to draft the appropriate language to put in this, and then we pass it with that appropriate language. That would be 2 weeks from now?
Yeah, that shouldn't be a problem. Do you want to bring exact language for all of those ideas? I don't know if the committee has any thoughts.
You want to, how long do you want to limit it? A year?
Yes.
Special use?
Yeah, at the
Yes.
same time, the young lady that's manager of the building, I asked her if she would stay, because
Yeah.
she was gonna leave.
Right.
And I just wondered if she has any comments on this, or,
We are very open to putting a security camera. We can
Good.
definitely do that. I know the other concern was people using the back door. We can make sure, that no use is going through there. Client log, I love that idea. I am definitely on your side. I don't want anything going on with this. I've
Yep.
checked these people out. I feel like they're gonna be really great tenants. So any suggestions, I would love.
Great, we appreciate that, and I don't think anybody on the council has a problem with legitimate massage parlors, but we've had issues with them in the past in West Dallas and around the metro area, and we just want to prevent that.
Mr. Chair,
Mr.
can
Glenn.
we implement all of your suggestions?
On this, yeah, That's what we
I would
want.
bring them
That's what
back
we're
with
gonna
specific
do.
language in a couple weeks, and yes, I
Right.
don't,
Yeah.
none of them
I
are.
like all of them.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we all do, I
Okay,
think,
cool.
yeah.
And
Yeah.
can we get a copy to the manager? So
Sure, so that you
know,
can give them to your tenant? Yeah, as soon as he has them, once you give Keel your email card,
I have a card with me.
got down your email address so he can email them to you. And then, if we could, is it possible to incorporate the language or similar language into our zoning ordinance so that we make this a condition of occupancy or getting a permit, so that all massage parlors, not just these, any council after us, will have this protection, these types of things, and this ability to do that. So it isn't, we have to do this every single time, ask you to come up with language.
So generally with a special use permit like this, it's more general terms that would apply to a special use. And so a good way to do that, I think, would be to just instruct the planning department
Staff.
to include that as a consistent
Okay,
type of
Steve,
limitation
can
with
you-
every
can you
applicant.
Make note of that, Steve, please, and,
Sure.
good.
Could this be done as an ordinance
To
for all of
incorporate,
us? Like for the council, if we have a massage parlor that comes in, they have to abide by this ordinance?
so right now, we're using it as conditions on a special use permit, which would, if planning just simply says anyone who comes in needs a special use permit for this type of activity, and the default language includes these things already, you don't need an ordinance then.
Okay.
If you wanted an ordinance on it, look into see if there's a way you can add something like that in from an ordinance standpoint. Yeah, my recommendation though would be just to include it as a default for all special use permits for this activity.
Okay.
Good,
Thank you.
great.
Mr. Chairman, the last one was hours of operation, and I had a quick discussion, and you said that the hair salon stays open until 10 also?
Yep.
So I really don't have, as long as,
Yeah.
you know, everybody else is staying open till 10, I
I
don't
don't
know.
have an issue with that either, if that's, yeah.
That we don't have to drop
Yeah.
that part of it, because we were talking about maybe 8 o'clock, but if the hair salon's staying open till 10, I think being consistent that the whole building shuts down at 10 is smart.
I think the Republican Party that's in there, there's people in their office till 10 also. So, work late.
okay, good. Then we're gonna hold this for 2 weeks,
Okay.
and,
And he'll email you a draft, correct?
Sure, thank you.
And to keep her up to date?
Will do.
So this draft will just explain all the.
right, that they have to come in every year to renew their permit.
Okay,
It's specific to them, that they've gotta have a camera to the front door, and that they have to keep a log of the clients,
okay. All right, perfect.
okay?
Thank you, you guys.
Thank you.
For staying around.
Sure.
Appreciate it.
Next we've got, this is, well, item 28 on your agenda, which is, extension of time for, the special use for, Marcy Gorsuch. This is the bar on 1900 South 60th Street that we gave the license to, and last week we discussed that he was running out of time on his application for special use, and this is to give him an additional 6 months.
I have no problem with that, Mr. Chair.
Is that a motion?
That's an emotion, yes.
Moved by Vitale, is there a second? I'll second it. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
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 Opposed?
Aye.
Alderman Barzak's opposed. Resolution's adopted, 4-1. Oops. Then we've got item 29 on the agenda. This is the review of the Better Block Summary Report to be placed on file.
So move.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Item 30 on your agenda is an ordinance to amend various subsections to the downtown signage ordinance relative to updating definitions, types of prohibitive signs, and updates to changeable copy section of the downtown signage ordinance. This has been with us since,
For a long time, I mean, that's,
7/8 of 219, that's when it was introduced, and I know we talked about it prior to that. If you'll recall, Alderman Michael was gonna bring us in samples of signs and that never happened. I've talked to staff about this, and staff doesn't have any major issues with the changes they're asking for. It's for changeable copies in the windows. It limits the size and everything in the downtown business district. Staff feels they can work within this ordinance. Obviously, I think the planning department would prefer no signs, but they're realists and realize that, you know, this is a business world and times change and we have to have some signage. So I would recommend approval of this.
Move for approval.
Second.
Moved by Barzak, seconded by Vitale. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. And then we've got item 33. It's a special use permit for State Fair Inn that we had a hearing on tonight. What is your pleasure?
Mr. Chairman,
Alderman Barzak.
I personally, I supported when they moved over to 92nd and Lincoln. I thought that was an excellent location.
I did too.
And I know the business deal fell through. This particular location, I have issues with the egress, and I always get the opposite word messed up.
Ingress.
Ingress.
Ingress and
That
egress.
if you go into the location, there's really no other way except to go through that alley,
Gotta go
whether
through
it's
the-
delivery trucks, whether it's.
Absolutely correct.
And I just think this is going to be an extreme safety issue. Number two, we've never had a liquor store on Highway 100, and I think with the plan for Highway 100, et cetera, I think it would be a good idea to keep that pretty intact. Now, we do have Pick and Save that butts up against Highway 100. You have the Piggly Wiggly, but that, you know, they're in shopping centers. I think that's a little different, and there's ample parking, et cetera. This one with the safety issue is of grave concern to me, and I'm not going to support it based on the safety issue of the way the lot is situated, that I don't believe there's any way to enter and exit that without using that alley on a regular basis, and I don't think that we designed alleys as driveways for businesses.
Alderman Barzak, I agree with you. The alley is not sufficient, I don't feel, for traffic from a store like that. I think the turnover is too great. When it was the beauty salon, you had limited vehicle traffic there. With a liquor store, you're gonna have constant turnover, particularly if you're looking at around holiday seasons or, you know, 4th of July or any of that. It's gonna be packed and there's gonna be a lot of traffic in the alley. There's gonna be big trucks unloading all the time. I just see it as not being conducive to the residential area that abuts behind it. And I'm going to be honest, Alderman Haas said earlier that he was supportive of giving this. I just want you to know that. He mentioned that before. I'm not. I would agree with you, Alderman Barzak.
Mr. Chairman, just to tag on to that, Alderman May, I know is up in license, and he's not supportive of it either.
Alderman Vitale.
Yeah, the history of that building, I'm very familiar. I know who built that, you know. To me was, at that time, I think, based on the usage for that site, was totally wrong. I mean, in a way, I do blame at that time, the city, really, I like to say that loud, based on the fact that there was the entryway is fine, but then there's no exit to go around and coming out again Highway 100. I mean, you have to exiting right in the alley. To me, you know, the fact that is at that time, because it was a living area upstairs, you know, a beauty shop, it was fine. It was not really as much trafficking, you know. But still, they were accepting in the alley, you know, all those years, really was not the question. So to me was, at that time, I believe was a bad decision. I mean, and I say again, it was from the city part, was wrong way how to handle that part of lot there, was totally wrong. Because people, they exiting in the alley for all those years. But then again, the density of traffic, it was very low. So, at that time, the guy, he had a lot of connections in West Dallas, the guy that, built those apartments and on and on. And to me, it was totally insane, you know, to design a lot like that, to just exiting into private properties or in the alley, which is city right away. But the point still is, people lives there, you know, so I'll be opposing, not to the liquor store. I mean,
I don't have any problem with the liquor store
liquor store, I
either.
have no problem
I had
with it.
no
think they
problem
have
with them coming
you
into
know, great
my district
records.
on
They
92nd.
have great records, but just the locations, to me, is not very appropriate, really.
And
Normally, I'm not that way, you know, I try to be more,
I think we have to keep in mind, Alderman Vitale, that I'm not sure what that was zoned prior to those buildings being built there. I think it was zoned commercial, so I don't think the council had a heck of a lot of discretion in whether we could allow something to be built there or not. And those neighbors, the residents that have their homes there, knew when they bought that they abutted commercial. However, that doesn't mean that they don't have any rights. I think that we have to look at these businesses, and we have to say, yes, they have to live with something reasonable there, whether it's like Marinello's was a hair salon or a dental office or something like that, where you're gonna have some traffic going in and out of that alley. You're not gonna avoid that, because that's just the nature of commercial butting up against residential. But we don't have to allow something what I think is a much heavier type of traffic.
all of it, like I say, but we know that will never happen today, really.
Well, I would hope not,
I mean, really, in fairness.
but I never say never on anything.
I know, but the point is, that that's what happened at that time. So
Mr. Chair.
that's water over
Alderman
the
Reinke.
dam,
Chair.
really. I mean, it's not the.
Basically, I think the whole project is regarding safety. We're very, very concerned about the neighborhood being safe. And with the large trucks coming in, I really think it would be detrimental to the residential area. But if it is passed, I would like stipulations regarding the delivery times and all, and also entering and exiting the private property. Naturally, with safety being a priority, like a right turn only.
I would suggest then that if this looks like it's going to pass in committee or on the council floor, which I don't think it is, but if it does, I recommend that you make a motion and to send it back to committee, refer it back to committee for
I think
stipulations.
that would be very wise,
Okay.
if it passes.
Mr. Chairman, and if, so Plan Commission did recommend, if it does pass, Plan Commission recommended that a formal site landscaping and architectural plan come back, you know, before us. You
Yeah.
could even perhaps.
We would include that in the,
send it back to Plan Commission for a formal review of the details.
okay.
Okay, very good.
Tom, is that a resolution?
This is a resolution, yes. Is there a motion to disapprove?
To
Motion
deny.
is to disapprove.
Is there a motion?
Yes, just
You're making it? Okay. It's been moved by Barzak, seconded by Alderman Stefanski.
And just to finish on the language, the purpose behind it would be the safety and the entrance and the exit.
Yes.
Oh, totally, I mean, that's what the
Right.
whole problem is. Not with the liquor store. you know.
All in favor of disapproval, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Anything else to come before the committee, Steve?
No, sir.
Okay. Then this safety and development is adjourned.
Second.
With
All in
that,
favor?
Public
Aye.
Works will
Opposed?
now come in session. Note that all 5 members are present. I want to thank the Chairman of Safety and Development and staff, having Safety and Development be able to go first for people that were here to attend. So again, Chairman, thank you very much, and gentlemen, staff, thank you very much.
Mr. Chair, is there a chance number
just a-
25 could go first? So I
We
can
we have
go
a,
upstairs?
we have a massive chance that that could happen. So we're gonna go right to number 25 on tonight's agenda. Resolution to approve the extension of parking lot lease contract between the City of West Dallas and CTR Partnership LP property located at 74 West Greenfield Avenue. Dale?
Mr. Chair, the last time this item came before the committee, as you'll recall, it was a 25-year lease with a $1 per spot per year increase annually. It's instructed to go back to the potential lessors and renegotiate. That lease was shortened to 10 years, and then the increases for the first 4 years, essentially, from years 1 through 5, are $1 per spot per month, but then from years 6 through 10, it is $2 per spot per month. Overall, it's about a 5% annual increase per the average, which I thought was a fair annual increase. And then also the time period was shortened to 10 months so as not to lock in future councils for 25 years.
Good, I move we approve.
Second.
Moved by Alderman Lysick, seconded by Alderman Stefanski. Any further discussion? On item number 25, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
Thank you all.
Thank you. 10 and 11, we'll start with 10. They are joint and have to shoot up the finance after we're done here. Number 10, resolution authorizing and directing the city engineer to amend existing agreement with Core Incorporated Engineering Consulting Bridge Inspection Services to the total sum not to exceed $4,900, as well as authorizing budget transfer the fund initiative.
Move for approval.
Second.
Moved by Alderman Vitale, seconded by Alderman Lysick. Is there any further discussion on item number 10? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, carried. Number 11, resolution to accept the sole source proposal of Badger Meter for providing beacon meter reading software and hardware for the total sum of $28,781.60.
Move to approve.
Second.
Moved by Alderman Ranky, seconded by Alderman Lysick. Further discussion on this item? Budgeted. All in
Correct,
favor?
yep.
Aye.
Opposed, carried. We'll have to shoot those up there eventually. Number 18, resolution authorizing the city, would you, Jerry? Would you please? To Alderman Haas. Thank you. Number 18, authorizing the city engineer to enter in an agreement for reimbursement from MMSD to fund the disconnection of foundation drain sanitary lateral rehabilitation on various properties throughout the city of West Dallas in the amount not to exceed $90,000.
Move to approve.
Second.
Moved by Alderman Lysick, seconded by Alderman Ranky. You were close.
Yep, I was close.
Is there further discussion on 18? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, carried. Number 19, resolution authorizing the city engineer to participate in development of watershed-based municipal storm sewer services, MS4, discharge permit for the Menominee River watershed.
Move for approval.
Second.
Moved by Alderman Vitale, seconded by Alderman Stefanski. This one, just give a quick,
This is, I've been talking about this a lot, this is this new permit that DNR is
Yeah.
gonna make us do to clean up the water. We're gonna have to get from 20% pollution removal up to 60%. There's public education, there's illicit discharge, there's construction site, there's all different components of it. It's very lengthy, but
It's budgeted, right?
I think, yeah, and we got some money. We got some matching
we got
funds on
money to
this.
do a plan.
Yep. Number 19's been moved by Alderman Vitale, seconded by Alderman Stefanski. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, carried. Number 20, resolution approving an agreement between the city of West Dallas and Milwaukee Metropolitan Sewer District to receive $144,100 in funding through the MMSD Green Solution Program for the installation of green infrastructure in the parking lot south of Greenfield Avenue and between 71st and 72nd
Move
Street.
for approval.
Second.
Moved by Alderman Lysick, seconded by Alderman Ranky. Further discussion on number 20.
What does that program consist of?
This would be the permeable pavers like we did at the library.
Okay.
This will pay for the pavers, and then the city would have to pay the rest, but this will help pay for the permeable pavers, which then helps the previous item, the DNR permit, clean up
Right.
the pollution. So
Yep.
it's all related.
Okay.
Come in on in.
Thank you.
Helps that.
Any further discussion? Moved by Alderman Lysick, seconded by Alderman Ranky. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, carried. Number 21, resolution approving the agreement between the city of West Dallas and the Milwaukee Metropolitan Sewer District to receive $84,650 in funding through the MMSD Green Solutions Program for the installation of green infrastructure in the parking lot south of Greenfield Avenue between 73rd and 74th Street.
Move to approve.
Second.
Moved by Alderman Ranky, seconded by Alderman Lysick. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, carried. Number 22, resolution accepting the work of KMI Construction LLC for the facade repairs of the West Dallas City Hall building located at 7525 West Greenfield Avenue in the city of West Dallas, and authorizing and directing settlement of the said contract in accordance with the contract terms of the 2016 project number 8 for the final payment in the amount of $2,700 for the total amount of for the $263,564 total project cost.
So move.
Second.
Moved by Alderman Stefanski, seconded, was that Vitale?
Vitale.
Kelly.
Any further discussion?
What, when did they complete this project?
Well, they finished it in 2016, and we've just had trouble getting them to sign off on the final inspection. So this is when the facade.
The facade was
Right,
falling.
yes, yes, I
and
remember.
It was done in 2016, and there was.
God, is that long ago?
Yeah.
Wow.
Doesn't seem like it was that long.
Like a final inspection that we were waiting for, and then they just were dragging their feet.
They're only waiting for $2,700.
I know, yeah, I mean,
They got,
still.
they got the big chunk, so. Any further discussion on 22? Moved by Alderman Stefanski, seconded by Vitale. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, carried. Number 23, resolution accepting the work of Will Surge Electronic for the furnishing and installation of a new standby generator at the West Dallas Fire Station Number 3, located at 10830 West Lapham Avenue Street in the city of West Dallas, and authorizing and directing settlement of said contract in accordance with the contract terms of the 2018 project number 11 for the final payment amount of $5,000 of the $60,983.53 total project cost.
So move.
Second.
Moved by Alderman Stefanski, seconded by Alderman Ranky. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, carried. Number 24, resolution authorizing the city engineer to order removal of the traffic signals at the intersection of 76th and Lapham Street.
So move.
Second.
By Alderman Stefanski, seconded by Lysick. Further discussion, if you would, city engineer.
Did some traffic counts there. The vehicle volumes are not high enough. There's only about 1 or 2 pedestrians an hour. You know, it's very telling that we used to put those signals in flash mode during the summer because school was out. And well, now Dotke School doesn't have elementary small kids.
Yeah.
So it was actually causing problems, as I've talked to you about, backing up into National Avenues, into the signals at National and 76th.
It would back up all the way down to Rogers
Yeah,
Because of this
So
signal.
it's-
yeah.
because of the timing of the signals, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah,
They're too
right.
close.
Yeah, the
You-
cycle time is
Yeah.
too long, you know.
There was no way to get it so that they were always green at the same time, so then they're backing up into National. So it was actually doing damage, and it just really isn't needed anymore because the school is not.
Well, if you would ask me, more than one alderperson is aware of this particular problem. So, having said that, it was moved by Alderman Stefanski, seconded by Alderman Lysick. All in
Could
favor?
I ask a
Aye.
question?
Aye, opposed,
Aye.
carried. Oh,
Is there a savings when you remove?
Well, yeah, it's 150,000, I mean, it's an old signal.
Yes.
So it was due for be upgraded.
To be replaced?
It saves us $150,000.
Okay, that's what I wanted to know. That is a savings.
Here you go, 150 grand for the senior center.
Yeah,
I was gonna say the same thing.
out of your budget, Pete, out of your budget. Out of your budget.
But eventually, in the future, we would have had this $150,000, so.
Number 25, we already voted on, so that one's done. 26, resolution to confirm and adopt the report of the city engineer.
Move for approval.
Oh, thank you, Alderman Whitfield.
Second.
Second, oh, yeah.
Seconded by Alderman Lysick. Any further discussion?
No, it needs it, very definitely, Mr. Chair.
Oh, let's take 26 and 27 together.
Yes.
If we could, please. So
Yeah,
I am
both
going
of
to.
them.
That's fine.
Vitale and seconded by Lysick on both items, number 26 and 27.
27.
That was the public hearing tonight. Any further discussion on those two items?
Move to adjourn.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed, carried. There's a motion for adjournment. Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Carried. We are adjourned.
That was an advisory road.
And Jerry, thank you for running
Just gotta wait
that
for
up.
Michael.
Appreciate it.
Yeah, we'll see what's going on upstairs.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah,
Anything, I don't know.
must be
Turn
discussion.
them all off for now.
I'm gonna shoot upstairs and see if you're talking it all on.
You're right.
Thank you.